All right. So you sent me this pretty big stack of sources, and it looks like you're really interested in taking a deep dive into this idea of like overcoming obstacles and achieving success.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, it's really close to my heart and
Yeah.
something that I think a lot of people struggle with. And what I find really interesting is that, there's a lot of different perspectives on this, right? Motivational advice, philosophical insights, but even like practical strategies for dealing with setbacks and achieving your goals.
Yeah, and I'm really struck by how like consistent the message is across all these different sources.
Yeah.
It's like everyone agrees that like the world can be a pretty tough place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one source even calls it like mean and slanderous,
Oh, wow.
which honestly, like I get it.
Right.
You know, like I've definitely had those moments where I'm like, yeah, the world's kind of kicking my butt right now. But then it goes on to say something that I think is really important. It says, it matters how hard they hit you and you keep going. How much you can endure and keep going. That's how you win.
That's powerful. And it really gets to the heart of what we're talking about here, resilience.
Yeah,
It's not about like never getting knocked down. It's about having that ability to get back up,
exactly. Yeah.
to keep going even when things are tough.
So it's like everyone gets hit, but it's the people who can take the hits and keep moving forward who ultimately like,
We'll come out on top.
who succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another source kind of builds on this idea by saying that like, pain is temporary,
Okay.
whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain.
Right.
It always fades eventually.
That's actually really reassuring because I think we've all had those moments where a challenge just feels like it's never going to end.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like I'm stuck in this forever.
And I think one of the key takeaways here is that we actually have a lot more control
Okay.
over our responses to these challenges than we might think.
Okay, so that brings up a good question. How do we actually do that?
Yeah,
Like, how do we cultivate that resilience?
right.
Do these sources give us any like practical advice?
Yeah, actually, one source gets into this really interesting concept called small margins, big impact.
Yeah.
And basically what it's saying is that like success often comes down to these tiny, tiny details.
Oh, interesting.
A half step, a half second, a seemingly insignificant choice.
Right.
But over time,
Yeah.
those can lead to massive results.
It makes me think of like, elite athletes who train for years,
Yeah.
and they're focusing on these minute adjustments to their technique that ultimately make all the difference
Exactly.
in competition.
Yeah, and this principle, it applies to any area of life, really. Whether you're an athlete, an artist, an entrepreneur,
Right.
it's about being intentional, paying attention to the details,
Okay.
making those small improvements over time that ultimately lead to big results.
So it's like the power of compounding, but applied to our like personal growth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of taking action, another source has this like really bold message.
Okay.
It just says straight up, if you want something, go get it. Period.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah, it's very direct.
It's so direct. Yeah.
It's very,
But it also makes me think like, what about fear?
yeah.
Like the fear of failure, I think that holds a lot of people back
Oh, for sure.
from going after what they really want.
Absolutely. And one source actually addresses this directly.
Yep.
And it argues that, failure isn't the opposite of success.
Right.
It's actually a stepping stone to success.
So instead of seeing it as like a reason to give up,
Yeah.
we should see it as like
A learning opportunity.
an opportunity. Yeah.
Exactly.
They were-
Every setback, every mistake.
Yeah.
It's a chance to learn, to course correct,
Okay.
and to come back stronger.
That's starting to make more sense. But
Yeah.
what about those times when you just like don't feel confident, Like you're just like, I don't know if I can do this.
Well, there's a really interesting quote in one of the sources that I think speaks to this.
Okay.
It says, the one who says I can't and the one who says I can't are usually both right.
Whoa, that's a mind bender.
Right.
So like what you believe about yourself actually ends up being true.
Exactly.
It's
It's like
one of them-
your beliefs shape your reality.
So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
If you believe you can do it, you're more likely to put in the work and actually achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you doubt yourself,
Right.
you're more likely to like hold yourself back.
And that kind of ties into another question that one of the sources asks, which is, how much do you actually love success?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Right. Like, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, I want to be successful,
Right.
but are you willing to do what it takes?
Yeah, like are you willing to put in the work, the sacrifice, the dedication?
Exactly.
Yeah, because let's be real, achieving anything worthwhile takes a lot of effort, a lot of perseverance,
For sure.
a lot of like pushing through those moments of doubt.
Absolutely. And speaking of facing our fears,
Yeah.
one source introduces this really thought-provoking idea. Our greatest fear isn't inadequacy,
Okay.
it's actually our own potential.
Whoa.
Right.
That's big one.
It's like what we're really afraid of isn't failing, it's the vastness of our own capabilities.
So we're actually like intimidated by our own potential greatness.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see how that could be true.
Mhm.
Like sometimes the thought of achieving our dreams can feel overwhelming.
Right.
Like it's too much to handle.
But instead of letting that fear paralyze us,
Okay.
this source is saying, step into your power, embrace your potential.
So instead of being afraid of our greatness, we should be inspired by it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that leads to a really important question that one source poses directly to the reader,
Right.
or in this case to the listener.
Okay.
Who do you want to be?
That's a big question. I feel like it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind
Yeah.
and forget to actually like step back and think about that. Like, who do I want to be? What do I really want?
Right. What kind of life do you want to create?
Yeah.
And this source is encouraging us to define our own version of happiness and success,
Okay.
regardless of what other people might think.
So it's about like figuring out what truly makes you feel fulfilled
Yeah.
and then going after it.
Exactly.
Okay, so once we've figured out who we want to be and what we want to achieve, what's the next step?
Action. One source really emphasizes the importance of making a choice,
Okay.
committing to it,
Right.
and then taking action.
So it's not enough to just dream.
Right.
We have to actually do something.
Yeah, you got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You got to take those steps.
And it's like that saying, a goal without a plan is just a wish, you know? We have to actually break it down
Right.
into actionable steps and start taking those steps,
Yeah.
even if they seem small.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to ask yourself, why not?
Okay.
Why not me?
Yeah.
Why can't I be the best at what I do?
Why can't I achieve my dreams?
Exactly. I love that.
You know, what's stopping you?
It's like challenging those limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of pushing past our limits, one source introduces a concept that I think takes this idea of personal power to a whole new level.
Okay.
It talks about the kingdom of God is within a person.
Right. I remember that line.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty profound, but
Right.
I'm not sure I totally get what it means practically.
Yeah, I think this source is using that phrase metaphorically
Okay.
to point to like the incredible potential that we all have inside of us. You know, it's not about religion specifically.
Right.
It's about recognizing our own inner strength, our creativity, our capacity for growth and change.
So it's like we already have everything we need
Yeah.
to create a fulfilling life. It's already inside us. Exactly. We don't have to wait for external validation or
Right.
permission or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't have to wait for like the perfect circumstances.
Right. To pursue our dreams or create positive change.
That's incredibly empowering.
It is.
Like it reminds me of that concept we talked about earlier, the power of belief.
Yeah.
Like if we truly believe in ourselves and our ability to make a difference, then like anything is possible.
Absolutely. And speaking of belief,
Yeah.
another source really challenges us to look at our relationship with success. It asks, are we truly dedicated to achieving our goals? Or do we just like the idea of being successful?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I think it's easy to get caught up in the fantasy of it
Oh, for sure.
without really considering all the hard work and sacrifice that goes into actually making it a reality.
Yeah. And this source is really pushing us to go deeper,
Okay.
Ask ourselves, what are we willing to give up?
Yeah.
What are we willing to endure?
To achieve our dreams.
Exactly.
It's about like
Mhm.
moving beyond those superficial desires
Yeah,
and cultivating like a real burning passion for what we want to create.
exactly. It's not just about wanting success.
Right.
It's about loving the journey,
Okay.
the challenges, the growth that comes with pursuing our goals.
And another source kind of builds on that
Yeah.
by emphasizing like the importance of surrounding ourselves with the right people.
Yeah. The people who support our growth.
Yeah, because I've definitely noticed that like the people I spend the most time with have a huge impact on my mindset and my motivation.
Oh, absolutely. And this source actually says, if the people in your life aren't making you better,
Okay.
you're wasting your time,
What?
It's a call to create a positive and supportive environment where you can actually thrive.
It's like building a team of cheerleaders who are also like pushing you to level up your game.
Exactly. And this leads to a really powerful piece of advice that I think will resonate with anyone who's ever felt like giving up.
Okay, let's hear it.
It says, don't cry to give up, cry to keep going.
Whoa, that's a powerful image.
Yeah.
Like channel your pain,
Yeah.
your frustration, all of that
Your doubt.
into fuel to keep moving forward.
Exactly. This source is encouraging us to embrace those difficult emotions.
Right.
Not to be afraid of them,
To use them.
but to use them as fuel for growth.
Yeah, it's like it's okay to feel discouraged, but don't let those feelings paralyze you.
Yeah.
Let them motivate you.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
this ties back to that concept of resilience.
Right.
You know, it's about having that mental and emotional toughness to weather the storms.
Okay.
Get back up when you get knocked down
Mm-hmm.
and to keep moving forward, even when it's hard.
So it's like we're building a muscle.
Yeah,
That ability to bounce back from setbacks
absolutely.
and keep going.
And one source actually uses a really interesting metaphor to illustrate this point.
Okay.
Imagine you're fighting your way to the light, escaping from the darkness of doubt and despair.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Even in the darkest of times,
Mhm.
there's always hope.
There's always a way forward.
There's a way forward, yeah.
And it's not about making giant leaps,
Right.
you know, or achieving overnight success.
It's about those small steps.
It's about taking those small steps,
The centimeter
those centimeters.
that ultimately lead to significant progress.
Yeah, it's the power of consistency.
Right, showing up every day.
Showing up every day.
Doing the work.
And that brings us to another important point.
Okay.
Most people don't achieve their full potential because they give up too easily.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah,
It's easy to get discouraged
it is.
when we face obstacles or when we don't see results right away.
Exactly. And this source is challenging us to really look at our own patterns of giving up. You know, why are we selling ourselves short?
It's like we have to become aware of those self-sabotaging behaviors or those limiting beliefs
Yeah, those limiting beliefs.
that are holding us back
And then make a conscious choice to change them.
to challenge them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that might involve pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zone,
Okay.
trying new things, being willing to fail,
Right.
knowing that failure is just part of the process.
So it's about embracing like a growth mindset,
Exactly.
believing that we can learn and improve over time
Yeah.
rather than getting stuck in that fixed mindset that says like, this is all I can do.
And it's also about recognizing the difference between talent and skill.
Okay, how so?
Well, you know, talent might be something you're born with,
Mm-hmm.
but skill is developed.
Through practice, through...
Effort, through practice, through persistence,
Right.
a willingness to learn from your mistakes.
So it's like you might have a natural aptitude for something, but that doesn't mean you don't have to put in the work
Right.
to actually develop those skills.
Exactly. And this source encourages us to never stop learning,
Okay.
never stop growing, always be willing to push ourselves beyond what we think we're capable of.
I love it. It's like
Yeah.
the journey never ends.
It doesn't.
There's always something new to learn,
Always something new to learn.
new to experience.
And speaking of pushing ourselves beyond our limits.
Yeah, it's like all these ideas, they're all kind of like interconnected, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like the resilience and the belief and the action and like having those good people around you. It's like they all work together to create this like
The synergy.
This synergy.
Yeah.
that allows us to achieve amazing things.
And what's really cool is like all these sources, they really emphasize that like true power comes from within.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not about like waiting for the perfect circumstances.
or waiting for someone to give you permission. It's about like tapping into that inner strength and taking action even when it's hard.
Yeah, and one source even goes so far as to say like the kingdom of God is within a person,
Right. Right, that's like
which is a really powerful way of putting it.
a powerful way of putting it, yeah.
It's like this reminder that we have everything we need to create a fulfilling life
Okay.
and to make a positive impact on the world.
So if we could like distill all these insights into like one key takeaway for the listener,
Okay.
what would it be?
I think it would be this. You have the power to choose your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. You have the power to overcome any obstacle
Right.
and achieve any dream.
Okay.
no matter how big or small.
And you're not defined by your past,
Yeah.
your circumstances, what other people think about you.
Right.
Like, you get to write your own story.
You are the author of your own story,
Yeah.
and you have the power to write a masterpiece.
And it's like limits
Mhm.
and fears, they're often just illusions.
They are. They exist only in our minds.
So, like, break free from those self-imposed limitations.
Yeah, break free, dare to
at-
dream bigger,
Dare to dream bigger
live bolder.
and achieve more than you ever thought possible.
Because the truth is,
Mm-hmm.
you're capable of so much more.
You
Or-
do.
and you even realize
You realize, yeah.
you have the power to create a life
Mm.
that is filled with, like, joy,
Joy,
purpose,
meaning.
all of it. You have the power to make a difference.
You do.
So go out there and make it happen.
Go make it happen.
And like this journey of self-discovery and growth,
Yeah.
it never ends.
They're ongoing.
There's always more to learn,
Always more to learn.
more to experience, more to achieve.
And before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I'd love to leave you with one final thought-provoking question
Okay.
to ponder.
All right.
If you could go back in time
Okay.
and give your younger self one piece of advice.
Based on everything we've talked about today,
Okay,
what would it be?
that's a great question.
Right.
It really makes you think
It does.
about, like, how we can use all these insights
Yeah.
to create a better future.
Create a brighter future for ourselves and for everyone around us. And remember, you don't have to have all the answers right now.
Right.
Just start by taking one small step,
1 centimeter.
1 centimeter in the direction of your dreams.
And never give up on yourself.
Never give up.
You are capable of amazing things.
Until next time, keep diving deep.